Welcome back to another episode of Spotlight on the Arts, the show brought to you by the Chicopee Cultural Council and Chicopee TV. Today, we have special guests as we dive into the film industry in Western Massachusetts. Let's meet the cast, the crew, and the production of Chronos Mercury. Here in Spotlight on the Arts with the production of Chronos Mercury, a series filmed right here in Western Massachusetts. And I'd love for you, our audience, to meet these wonderful creatives. Let's first start with Brian James McFarland, the executive producer of Chronos Mercury. We also have Chris Marion, who is the director of photography. We have Gino Roman in the back, who's one of our cast members, Mr. Gardner, right? Yes. Correct. We have India Anderson, another one of our cast members for Chronos Mercury. We have Chef John Slattery, and we also have, what is your name? I'm sorry. Heidi. Heidi is one of the cast members, and she came in her outfit as well from the series. So welcome to Spotlight on the Arts, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
I'm excited to learn more about this series. I know that it's been a long planning, and recently it was put out there to the population that you were casting. And so a lot of people, there's a buzz going for Chronos Mercury, which is a great thing. James, tell us about this endeavor. How did it come about, and how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, like any project, it started with recruiting other people, and we had such a overflow from the communities that we only recruited for about a week and a half, I think, before we got about 200 applicants that were interested in being part of this. So then we ended the recruiting period after that. And out of those people, it was a painstaking process that took months to really review every single one and make sure that they'd be a good fit for the project, people who can work together well, people that are good communicators, teammates. And out of that, we got an exceptional group of people. We have podcasters, we have musicians, we have artists, we even have a chef, Chef John Slattery over here. Every single person that is involved with Chronos Mercury right now is special in at least one way, and so many of them are special in so many other ways on top of that. It's wonderful. The whole area is just oversaturated with talented people.
So the ball started rolling when you put this idea out there, but in your personal character, what made you decide? I know you have other projects as the founder of Springfield Media, correct?
Springfield Mass Media.
Springfield
started
Mass Media.
That years ago. Yep.
And so I know that there are other projects that you're a part of, but this particular project, what made you say, I'm moving forward and I'm putting this out there and we're going to make it happen?
I think I saw a need and a demand for it. Our local film, our local actors, our local musicians, all of our local creatives, they need something like this, and nobody was providing that. So I said, time to do it. A lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's exciting. It's very exciting. Chris, as the director of photography, how did you manage to have a meeting of the minds with James to come to bring this mission, this vision to life, to the screen?
Johnny, I think I was an early adopter of the project. As soon as I started to see some of what was envisioned, I was very excited. And I just wanted to get on board as quick as I could. I said, listen, I'm self-employed photographer, and very busy at this point, but this was a project, I could carve some time out for.
Definitely. I think that the need, like James says, is there. We just need brave people to take the dive into making it happen. So India and Gino, you were both casted into the series. Tell us about that experience when you hear this calling from James. How did you reach out? How did it happen? And tell us about your part in your character up to what you are allowed to talk about.
Well, actually, I seen a post on Facebook, and it was saying that Springfield Studios was looking for actors and people to be a part of. This was maybe about 4 months ago. So I sent the email, and then to my surprise, I got a message back that I was selected as like one of the 12 people out of all these hundreds of people to be a part of this. And so I was really excited. And then I think a snowstorm or something happened and we missed the first meeting. Yep. Oh, I was like, oh my God, I want to meet everybody. I was so psyched up because we were going to meet all the 12 people and everybody that was involved. So I usually, because I smile a lot, I usually go for like happy or like smiling or fun-loving people and when I do plays or theater or acting. And for some reason, I got this, I guess my character is a little, yeah, she's dangerous. She's dangerous.
Fearful.
I'm coming in, and I'm sure you're gonna see a clip. And I guess I do the eyebrow. I'm like Rock's little sister.
I guess a lot of powerful women are seen as fearful. So
yeah,
maybe that's
so
a good
this is
thing.
gonna be really, really fun to do, and I was very excited to be cast and part of it. So I'll pass it to Gino.
Gino, tell us about your experience and how did that come about?
Well, the same as with India. I was just surfing on Facebook and noticed that Springfield Mass Media was looking for some extras and audiovisual help. I'm a retired network communications engineer, so I figured it's something to do, something to get out of the house with. And as I sent in an application, and I was very shocked that Brian selected me and wanted me, instead of my expertise, wanted me as one of the actors. My character plays 3 different people, same family. I play my descendants.
Wow.
So not only do I start with today, but then I go back into up to the future and come backwards. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out.
This is amazing. I'm thrilled that you feel so in touch with the production and how the story is developing itself, which is important for the success of the project. How about you, our nurse? Tell us about your role.
Thank you.
Our role in the series.
Well, once upon a time, I just signed up to, because they were looking for people to help on the set. So I actually went as a caterer and came back as a lead role.
Look at that.
Wow. So
Perfect
dreams
for
do
it,
come
too.
true.
I mean, when the perfect person comes along,
Yep.
you just have to take.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's been a lot of fun, and I've done a lot of research, and kind of what I'm seeing is, in asylums back in the 1950s, how horrific they were. And people just put there because they were left-handed or they had problems with spouses, was a way to get rid of them. And then Walter Freeman came along and performed all kinds of fun lobotomies on people that didn't need it and felt like digging in your brain was an okay thing to do.
So it's a great thing that you've been able to do a little bit of the research of your character to give a star performance.
Yes, but Brian always says, well, don't get into it too much because he twists things. So just when you think you understand what he's doing.
All of us creatives, and this is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong for those of you that create, we start building something or creating a piece of art. And I always like to say that, in my case, for the visual arts, the canvas has its own life. So I come in with a vision of something that I want to do, but once I start, the ambiance, the environment, whatever other factors play a role in my creative process take over. And the final product may not be what I initially envisioned, but you have to give your mediums that freedom to go where they want. That's kind of like that creative, artistic creativeness that we want, right? And that gives it character, that makes it so much more rich, that product that you deliver to people, when you're letting that creativeness flow naturally.
Johnny, the thing that I love the most is that none of us met each other, none of us knew each other, and I'm blown away by the talent that is in Western Mass. And that when Brian says, and Gino gives the ready to go, the click, you know, that we can talk, like how we interact with each other. We've never known each other or worked with each other is really, really natural, and it's fun, and it's just creative genius.
Well, that's also part of like that environment and that work culture that the production team fosters and wants to create. So, James, how has that played a role? How important is it for you to have that type of environment where everyone feels comfortable, as she just explained?
Well, we had to create it.
Yeah.
You know, we had to make sure that the people coming in weren't going to fight with each other, that they were people that were going to work together, and because of that, the whole thing just comes natural. You know, hard part's over. Now it's time for the fun part.
Yeah. So you started filming on April 24th, correct?
Yes.
How did that go? India.
Really good.
Do you know?
Flawless.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think speaking for the cast, I suppose, and the crew, it really exceeded expectations. You know, again, you know, a lot of it was theory and conjecture, and we were trying to build, you know, the visual aesthetic for the film over the preceding months, and then to see it all coming together was phenomenal. There was so much free rein given, and you know, again, the talent that this man has brought together has been wonderful. And some of the clips that I've seen, and I don't know if they're pre-production, if they've been released, but they're spectacular. They really exceeded my expectations.
We do have some of the clips for the audience, which we're definitely going to be playing on the show. I also know that you have local actors, local production team, but you put a call out to make a score for the series with local musicians. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of the more dynamic and interesting aspects, is that their hard work is over, and now I'm back into another recruiting process where I'm gathering those same type of people using our pool of musicians, and we've had a number of them come out, and I'm not ready to release any names yet, but we've already signed on our main composer, our sort of Danny Elfman to our film, as well as a number of acoustic guitar players, bands, you know, just same type of thing, but we're still at that preliminary stage with the musical scoring, and we won't start actual production on the musical scoring until sometime around August.
In August, amazing. Yep. Do you foresee the season, the series to go on for a few seasons? You just see this as a one-season project? What is your anticipated goal?
Well, there's a whole story to tell. And originally we wanted to do it, or I wanted to do it as a movie. And the more I sat down and looked at it, I said, well, movie's not going to be enough time to tell the story. Mm-hmm. So we're going to need like a mini-series, like maybe 3 episodes or so. And then as we moved on further than that, I said, well, a mini-series isn't going to be enough to tell the story. So we're going to need a full series. And then by the time we got done looking at that, we realized, well, a full series still isn't going to be enough time to tell the story either. Like, this season is going to end on one of those cliffhangers that goes into another one. Ideally, I think we'll probably end at 3 seasons, and that'll be just enough time to tell the story, tell it right, but not to have the project linger on after it should have ended. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Perfect planning. I know that you also have other projects in Springfield Mass Media and other projects that you're working on. And there's a convergence with these other projects and this film series. For example, Slattery is one of these examples where he is working alongside you in a different project, but you've incorporated that into the series as well. Tell me about that, and Slattery, please tell me about how does that feel working in this convergence of projects?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the things I like to do is to bring different medias and different groups together and to be facilitating that. I have a long background in visual arts as well, and it's exciting. Been doing the cooking thing for a long time and do bits and pieces of produce for that. And Brian and I are working on a project called Pioneer Valley Chefs, and that's going to focus on different chefs in the area and different things in our area to highlight in the food world. And so in working with Brian on that, he said, well, we need some extras for Chronos Mercury, and I happen to be available on a filming day, and it's just great to kind of be and see a different part of the visual world as versus producing cooking pieces and like that, to see actual production of a movie-like atmosphere right here in Springfield. So it's really awesome to be part of that, and to see these synergies coming together. It's really great. Lots of great talent. And,
that's
it's
amazing.
Just amazing. Yeah.
Are there any other projects that you are incorporating into the series as well?
Well, I've kind of learned by looking at the industry itself that the best industries out there, the big ones, they all kind of have that group that mixes together. They have their own family in a way, their own kind of world. So bringing John in as an extra for Chronos Mercury from another show is just kind of natural. Just like if we need some tasters on the other show, well, I'm going to pull from the people I already have before. We do have another film on the horizon. Nobody except for the core group really knows about it, but it's a movie called A Mind for Murder, and it's written by author Ken Harris. He does a lot with puppets and stuff, and he's a brilliant screenplay writer. So next year we're doing it. We're already basically scheduled for, or in the scheduling part of it right now. And although we'll be pooling, from the local communities again, you're going to see some of the people that were in Chronos Mercury. You're going to see some of the people that were in Pioneer Valley Chefs, and we're just going to keep building and snowballing from there and create our film family.
Yeah. So if you, in a few words, were to convince our audience or tell our audience why they should watch the series Chronos Mercury, without getting too much into details of the plot, but why should they watch? Tell us, a little bit about the series content.
Well, if you don't watch, you're going to miss it. But there's. It's mainly a serious series. That's what it's focused on, but it's also kind of taken on this extra humor role, which I think is great because you need that comic relief in anything. If it's just too serious, it's too dry. And having the natural humor of our cast and crew has kind of bled out onto the film itself, and it with that comic relief really breaks up the series, and it makes it that much more entertaining.
That is great. What do you feel should be the future of the film industry in Western Massachusetts? I mean, what you're bringing to the table right now, it's a huge step. It's a huge step. It's very well needed. Hence why so many people. You had about 200 people. Submit applications
before we turned it off.
Right? the need is there. Where do you see the future of the film industry for Western Mass? Like, if you read online, I know I've seen things about Western Massachusetts being referred to recently as the Hollywood of the East. You know,
I think that was about me. I wasn't sure.
maybe it was, maybe it was. So tell us a little bit about that, because we want more creatives to come on board into this. We want more creatives. So where do you see the future of this?
Well, we're at a unique position in time where your multimedia artists don't need, you know, a $1 million budget to create something that looks like it was created with a $1 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
You can do stuff with $10,000, $15,000 if you have the right people, and this area has the right people. So all we have to do really is just take the local people that are in our area, the very best of the best, and there's a lot of talented people, and just go out and do it, create it. I mean, you can sit around talking about doing things again and again and again, but if you just get up out of the chair, you know, away from the table, and go out there and do it, that's how you get it done.
So what can our audience and the people out there that are interested in being a part of a future project that you may have that are interested in entering the film industry, where can people contact you?
Well, right now our contact is kind of limited.
Okay.
We open it up in windows. When we're doing a recruiting event, if we need extras for this, if we need actors for a new project, if we're looking for AV people, we'll do an active recruiting campaign, and there'll be a window of opportunity for anybody who wants to, whether they have an agent or not, you know, whether they're signed or whatever, you know, they may solicit to us during that time, and then we choose out of that. But if we just kind of left that floodgate open all the time,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be making films. I would just be looking over applications all
They
day.
just need to make sure to follow Chronos Mercury on Facebook. There is a Facebook page
That's
for
it.
that, correct?
There is a website as well, chronosmercury.com.
chronosmercury.com. India?
Well, I just wanted to comment to about Springfield and the Western Mass area having tremendous talent, and that we want to keep things. Oh, I'm not sure, but I mean local restaurants and businesses and places. You know, if we reach out, I'm thinking if we reach out and we need a location to shoot, or we need something, you know, we're gonna probably. You know, if that's another way to get involved, because we want Springfield or Western Mass to be on the map. So we don't want to go shoot in New York for a scene. We want it right here.
So if there are individuals out there that own restaurants or own sites in the region that might be a site you're interested in, is there a way for them to reach out?
Well, like I said, like
Facebook.
Brian
Follow
said,
Facebook,
he said follow
get in
his
touch there.
page, and when he's looking for things like that, he might be looking for a specific. He has a vision, so when he's looking for a specific location, it could be your backyard.
Yeah.
It could be your backyard, and he might say, you know, I'm looking for this certain look. You know, does anybody have that on their property? You know, that's a good way to get involved. You know, businesses and things like that. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that about. We are going to have merchandise pretty soon that has Chronos labels and
Mercury.
things like that on it. So you got to look forward to that and look for that
Awesome.
on our page.
Follow them on
and
Facebook.
when yes,
Go to their website.
follow.
Mercury. And India, the actors, you know, do you guys have any platforms where people can find you?
Well, Facebook.
Facebook.
India Anderson.
India Anderson.
I'm pretty open.
Pretty okay.
Pretty
Cool.
open book for your Facebook.
Did want to mention something
Yes,
about the
please.
locations. And India's right. Like, we want to use, you know, the buildings and locations in Springfield, in Chicopee, in West Springfield, you know, in Ludlow, in Holyoke, in this entire area. And I do want to give a shout out to Joe Sibilia of the Gasoline Alley Foundation,
Awesome.
who
Yes,
let us
Joe.
use his kind of makeshift bar area, which is actually his corporate boardroom for the foundation.
Yes.
And it's a private place, and he opened it up to us to use for the shooting, as well as we used some older industrial property to kind of portray a futuristic wasteland look that we were doing
Nice.
in a lot of the filming. So.
Well, talking about those locations, I know that it is I've seen some of the promotional material, and I know that there's something involving time. I know,
Yep.
so I have this antique that I found somewhere along in life and in time. I found this clock, and I just wanted to gift it to the production. And I hope you like it. It's a Big Ben alarm clock. Who knows? Who knows?
Johnny, don't be surprised if you don't see this in one of the scenes up in the background. Be looking for it. It's going to be a nice Easter egg. I really appreciate this gift.
Nice. That's good. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for that. I'm
You
excited.
can cut that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to have you guys over. When can people expect to see the first clips, the first episode of the series up, and where is it intended to be aired?
Well, our primary solicitation is going to be to Amazon Prime. That's the first place that we're going. We've gone in line with all of their guidelines. Everything's up to spec, both sound and video and everything else. And we do have solicitation working with them on behalf of the project.
That's exciting.
So there is also indie picks that we would like to submit to them as well, and we're pretty sure that that would be no problem. But there is development of our own channel through Roku, and as we have a few more series and movies in the next couple of years, we'd like to have our own channel there that you can go to for free and watch our stuff.
That's exciting. And I mean, how badly was this needed? And I'm excited that you guys have this ball rolling, because the film industry and the TV and shooting industry definitely needs to be catapulted. I think, like you said, there's so much talent and not a place or a platform for it.
It's exactly that. Brian is doing a great service to this community.
Yeah.
And also are the technical schools having studios like this one and in other cities too. So, getting the young people involved on what it's like to produce this is only going to give us the technical skills to go along with the great talent in our area to really cross over that. Coming from the cooking world, any kind of specialty interest produced piece, there's really not a lot of that being done locally to the scale of being more than a webisode or something like that. So Brian taking the step to actually get Western Massachusetts out onto real platforms that can be accessed to more people, I think is just an amazing thing, and I'm happy to be part of that to help them drive that.
How about the Chef's Show? When does that go up?
Well, I don't want to say we're quite in production, but we're not in pre-production either,
Okay.
because we've already gone out and taken some footage to do mock-ups and test runs and things like that. So we're somewhere in between. We have another couple of chefs on board who are going to be part of it. But you could probably expect that by the end of the year as well. We hope to release both of them. Chronos Mercury is right on schedule. It's going to be released by the end of the year. We're going to do a premiere right in the area for everybody. We're toying with two different notions. One, my first thought was to rent out one of the Regal theaters downtown and just do it there. But then I thought,
beautiful one here in Chicopee, the Rivoli Theater.
Then I thought maybe it'd be more fun to do like a drive-in style with a projector outside on one of the locations where we filmed.
Yeah.
So it brings that unique energy, of the building of the film to finalize it at one of those. So you'd have the couple, like probably just the first episode or two for that premiere that would be local here in the area.
Well, this is great news. Great news for Western Massachusetts. Great news for artists. Great news all around. I'm excited. You're excited. I know the audience is excited. Make sure that you follow Chronos Mercury on Facebook. Go to their website at www.chronosmercury.com.
Yep.
Correct? And follow these wonderful individuals on social media platforms as they dive into the film industry, into the the series. Yes?
You can follow my cooking at chefjohnslattery.com and all the other social medias as well.
Perfect. Follow Jeff Slattery as well for that other show that James is in production of. this is great news because you too can be a part of this if you stay in touch, stay following and updated, and you too can take advantage of one of those windows when Brian puts out one of the calls for one of his production. So I want to thank you all for being on the show. This is amazing talent, great initiative. I cannot thank you enough as an artist to artist. I appreciate what you're doing, and I would love to support this production in any way that I can. So please count on that. Spotlight on the Artist home for you, and so is Chicopee TV. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, the audience, for watching one more episode of Spotlight on the Arts. This has been Johnny Miranda, and I will see you next time.
Hey, how are you? Want another drink?
So you do frontal lobotomy?
Yeah, just a couple months ago we did some fun.
Well, it all started in 1885 when I was working for the Edison Company in New York City.
Where is he?